This is the Safety and Public Works Committee. It is 6:45 council chambers, and we have,
Your mic on, Ted?
it is, thank you. We have 9 items on our agenda, first of which being direction on active code enforcement, and Community Development Director Kramvik.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff is bringing 3 properties before the committee tonight for review, and staff is looking for direction from the council as how to proceed with the cases. The first property is 507 First Avenue Northeast, which is an unlicensed rental. Staff recommends beginning to pursue legal action with the city attorney and issuing a $300 citation every month that the property remains occupied and unlicensed. Next property is 1106 Quinn Street. The pictures indicate certainly unlicensed vehicles and then potentially inoperable as well. So staff is recommending obtaining an administrative search warrant and towing the vehicles. Then the last property is 1111 13th Street Southeast. This one is for a tarp shed, prohibited material. Staff is recommending a $300 citation every month until the accessory structure is removed. And I can answer any questions.
All right, thank you, James. Questions for James? I've got just a few really quick ones. So 507 First Avenue Northeast, we have confirmed. How do we know that there's a tenant?
We have confirmed through the police department that it is an unlicensed rental with multiple people living at the property.
All right, thank you. And then all 3 of these have, I believe it was in the packet here, but they've received the letter of notification and then the 3 administrative citations.
They have, and then prior to towing the vehicles, what we do, so after council action, we send another letter to the resident letting them know of what council's action was, and typically give then another 10 days as the warrant, search warrant process is being processed through our attorneys. So they do receive another notice.
Last question for me, have any of them responded in any way?
The first one did respond, but I think there's going to be difficulties with complying with this one. So I still recommend proceeding with the route taken or route recommended.
All right, thank you. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, do you want to take these all together, or would you like them separately?
I was thinking we should probably take them.
I'll move it, we do 50, or what the first one is. 507 First Avenue, follow staff's recommendation on that. 1106 Quince, we follow staff's recommendation on that. 1111 13th Street, we follow staff's recommendation on that.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, our second item is adopt resolution approving the Lakes Area Drug Investigative Division Joint Powers Agreement. And Chief Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the City of Brainerd, City of Baxter, and Crow Wing County are all current members of the Lakes Area Drug Investigative Division, commonly referred to as LADED Joint Powers Agreement. The LADED Board has approved adding Mille Lacs Tribal Police Department investigator to the task force. Adoption of a resolution supporting the inclusion of Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe to the current JPA is required. A significant amount of drug crimes in Brainerd has a direct correlation to the Mille Lacs Reservation. And we've seen this increase over the last several years with the prevalence of fentanyl. This has led to LADED investigators working with Mille Lacs tribal investigators on a daily basis. A little bit of history here regarding our current LADED task forces. For the last 20 plus years, Brainerd Police Department has assigned an investigator to LADED. Operations for this multi-jurisdictional task force is primarily funded by asset forfeitures. Due to changes in Minnesota's forfeiture laws over the last couple of years, the task force will be receiving fewer proceeds from forfeitures, and this model of funding will not be sustainable indefinitely. For 37 years, the majority of Minnesota task forces have been grant funded. These grant-funded task forces are identified by the Minnesota Department of Public Safety as Drug and Violent Crime Enforcement Teams, VSETs. Currently, the Department of Public Safety funds 70 Minnesota counties through this VSET program. To qualify for the funding, a task force must include 2 or more counties. This encourages task forces not to operate independently, but be part of a multi-county task force, which is proven to be the preferred and most effective model throughout the United States to investigate drug crimes. Having Mille Lacs Tribal Police Department join LATED won't automatically make LATED eligible to be grant funded, since Mille Lacs Tribal Police Department isn't a county entity. However, the LATED board has been in conversations with the Department of Public Safety regarding making LATED grant eligible with the inclusion of Mille Lacs Tribal. The feedback received has been nothing but favorable, and Department of Public Safety staff have been giving LATED guidance and assistance in preparing themselves to be grant funded. One of the requirements for this is for Mille Lacs Tribal Police Department to be included into this JPA. The monetary amount of potential funding is unknown at this time, but based on past years, it would be reasonable to believe that the grant would fund 100% of operational expenses, along with reimbursing the member agencies for some of their expenses, such as a portion of vehicle and overtime expenses for the investigator. And this proposed joint powers agreement has been reviewed by Attorney Langle. So the recommended action I'm bringing before you is to adopt this resolution approving the Lakes Area Drug Investigative Division Joint Powers Agreement.
All right, thank you very much. Questions or comments? Councilman Yeager.
Yes, Mr. Davis, a quick question. What happens if we approve this and then the grant doesn't come through? How does the money work, or is it possible to attach the grant funding to this motion to approve this? I'm just curious about what happens if we approve this and then the grant falls through.
Yeah, well, and that's a good question. This, including Mille Lacs Tribal Police Department into our current JPA, and that's really all we're doing. The JPA in front of us here is really the one we have in existence and have for a while. It's just really the addition of them. It's beneficial for 2 ways. Operationally, it just makes sense based on us working with them daily, and especially with the prevalence of fentanyl. The second reason, of course, is the potential to be eligible for grant funding. If that grant funding fell through, our operations would continue as they are now, and actually, solidifying that daily investigative involvement we have with them within that joint powers agreement. It makes sense for a lot of operational reasons. So
there's no fiscal risk if the grant doesn't. Okay.
No, we would not be out anything.
Chairman?
Yes, Councilman Cheswick.
Chief, if you guys have a drug bust and you got $50,000 cash, do you have access to that through this task force?
Well, if that money is eligible to be forfeited, which there are some instances where that's still possible, but it's less than what it used to be. And we go through the court process, and the courts have determined that that asset forfeiture is awarded to the task force, then that remains within the task force to fund task force operations, such as really the funding model for us up until this point for a lot of the operational components.
The tax forfeit issue is mostly on property forfeiture, right? Where they,
The asset forfeiture, yeah, so that very well, typically that's cash, sometimes it can be vehicles or firearms.
Okay. I mean, the change in that forfeiture law where the counties aren't able to make a profit on forfeited property, is that what you're talking about?
Well, I guess before there was a longer list of eligible criminal violations that would allow for a forfeiture of assets that were involved in that. That list of crimes has shortened significantly, so there's just going to be less forfeitures now and in the future, and therefore that was a primary source of funding, and fearfully that wouldn't necessarily support the task force indefinitely over the years.
Thank you. I'm glad you explained it that way. I didn't understand it, so appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd move that we adopt the resolution for this.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Our third item Adopt resolution approving cooperative construction agreement for Trunk Highway 371B and Willow Street roundabout projects. And who do we have on this one? Public Works Director Habegorst.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to
sorry.
turn this over to Jesse. He's worked on this grant and knows the intimacy of all of this. So Jesse?
Okay. Are you doing the cooperative agreement first, or are you doing?
Oh, did I jump one? I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to clarify. Wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
I'm gonna go back. I apologize. I clicked on the wrong one. So our
problem.
third item
Lowell.
is to adopt resolutions for grant agreement and award bids, improvement 2407 Lowell Street, Safe Routes to School project.
Thank you,
For
Mr. Chair.
this one, is it?
Yes.
Jesse.
Jesse, that's
again.
what I was referring to, the grant.
So WSB went out for bids on the Lowell Safe Routes project. We did receive 2 bidders. The low bid being D. Chantel Excavating. Attached to the item is a letter of recommendation from WSB after reviewing the bids. The low bid was in the amount of $432,624.79, which is almost $40,000 underneath the engineer's estimate. So that was a very advantageous bid for us. So attached to this is a recommendation for award to D. Chantel in that amount, as well as an adoption or a recommendation for an adoption of a resolution that agrees to the terms of the Safe Routes to School grant agreement with MnDOT that would lock in that funding for us.
All right, thank you very much. Any comments, questions for staff? And looks like there are 2 items in here. I think we should probably do these separately because one of them is a resolution, will require a voice vote.
I'd move to adopt a resolution.
Sec-
Unless that's-
sorry.
That's in order to do that first?
We got recommendation number 1, award the improvement 2407 contract to D. Chantel Excavating in the amount of $432,624.79.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And then we'd be looking for that second motion to adopt the attached resolution approving the terms of the Safe Routes to School grant agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
That's a roll call, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll do
Thank
that
you.
at the council meeting.
Oh, yeah, ours can be that. The council will be the,
Apologies.
but that's why I separated them, because knowing at council it'll
He's
be.
not Mike O'Day.
Yeah, got it.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, and motion carried. So, all right, number 4, this one is the adoption of resolution approving cooperative construction agreement, Trunk Highway 371B, Willow Street Roundabout Project. And I know it's listed as you,
But yeah,
Mr.
I'm going to turn it
Haverhorst.
over to Jesse
Turn it over
also.
to
Let this
Jesse.
one, let him handle these 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have the cooperative agreement from MnDOT. Now that we're kind of wrapped up with plans and getting ready for bidding, this just kind of lays out the state's share of the cost of the project, as well as kind of long-term maintenance of the project after construction would be complete. A lot of this stuff is things that we've already discussed with, like the RFBs that MnDOT would participate in construction costs, but that would turn over to the city for long-term maintenance ownership of. And everything else is very typical in regards to like maintenance responsibilities long-term. But staff is recommending adopting the attached resolution that accepts the terms of the cooperative construction agreement with MnDOT for the roundabout project.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Chesak.
Yeah, there's a project engineer, on-site management, and then a environmental consultant, or are they the same?
They will not be. So the project engineer is going to be the engineer over the entire project. SCH is going to be helping us with that. We're also going to have an environmental engineer on site as well, because there is going to be at some point some excavating of some petroleum soils right near the gas station. We've verified that through some soil boring. So during that time, during that excavation, we have to have somebody on site.
Do you know who that's gonna be?
Not at this time.
Okay, do you have to go out for RFP for that, or just,
No, that's part of SCH's proposal.
thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'd be looking for a motion. Got recommendation to adopt the attached resolution in which enters into the cooperative construction agreement with MnDOT for the Trunk Highway 371B Willow Street Roundabout project. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Jesse, when, I mean, this has been on our agenda, those parts of this for, has it been significantly longer than a year that we've been talking about the roundabout? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Yes, sir. It's been probably a year and a half since, or maybe 2 years since we were granted the HSIP grant originally. So
Yeah.
we've been developing it since then.
These things don't just happen overnight, do they?
No, they do not.
Okay, thanks very much.
And what's the year of construction for that?
This year.
All right, thank you. And item number 5 is to approve event parking lot closure, farmer's market application with DDBC. Public Works Director Habegorst.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, a local business in the downtown area would like to host a farmer's market on Fridays from May 16th to October 20th of this year, 2025. The location will be at the City Hall parking lot. The city of Brainerd leases 7 parking stalls to a local law firm. Staff has asked them to park in the north end of the parking lot to allow the farmer's market to use the remaining of the parking lot. And I have reached out to that law firm, and we're going to be giving them 7 parking stalls on the north end, and they've agreed to this. And we are also, the city of Las Vegas, our city of Brainerd staff will be, they will be, sorry, the city of Brainerd staff will be parking at the library location or either they're at the north end of the jail down the road. And at that, I can take any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Chesak?
Could you help me out a little bit? What's the letter, of course, I'm limited with not being able to see the map, but
Yep.
there's 2 letters. One's about the city parking lot, and the other's about Front Street.
Correct.
Explain what's going on there so I understand it.
So
Give
at
a
Front,
visual on it.
the Front Street, the farmer's market wanted to get some exposure from the 210 highway, and they thought Front Street would be the best location with that. A few business owners were objecting to that, closing down that Front Street, so they didn't want to upset the apple cart, and they just came to us and they said, hey, can we use the parking lot? There's some good exposure from our parking lot, and they think that this location will be good for them, and we think so too.
So there's really nothing going on between 6th and 7th? That's
Correct.
That letter confuses me.
Yeah, it was either that location or the parking.
Oh,
right.
okay, so it's either, okay.
Yep.
I understand, thank you.
Either or, and it's now
Right.
settled on the
Okay.
City
On the
Hall.
City Hall parking lot.
Did we get a confirmation, some sort of verbal confirmation or in writing that the law firm's okay with the parking
Yes, I
situation?
have an email.
Okay, because that was part of the,
That was going to be
Yes.
my question.
okay. Sorry to step on you.
No problem.
All right, a nice apple cart analogy with the farmer's market.
Right?
All right, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll be looking for a motion to approve this one.
So move to approve the farmer's market on Fridays, beginning whatever dates are April or May?
Yeah, I'll read it here really quick. So, approve the farmer's market request to conduct a farmer's market on Fridays, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. From May 16th to October 10th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Great, motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. And motion carries. All right, number 6, award bid, Improvement 2501, 2025 chip seal project. And Public Works Director Habegorst, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached to these items are bids received from the improvement for the chip sealing project. The city received 3 different bids, the lowest bidder being the Aztec in the amount of $151,676.20. That was our base bid. The council, if you remember, asked us to ensure that the project was going to be under budget, that we put some streets as a ad alternate. So we did that. They also added the ad alternate streets, and those were 10,000. A total of their bid is $162,337.90. And so this is well underneath the engineer's estimate for this project. And so the staff is recommending award of this improvement for the chip sealing project to Asphalt Service Technology Corp. in the bid amount of $160, $337.90. With that, any questions?
Thank you. Questions, comments?
You ever worked with this company before?
I am not sure. Normally, it's Anderson Brothers that gets a lot of this, but they did not get the bid.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
One other thing, I don't know if it was in the documents, has our price stayed pretty flat from last year on the unit prices and everything on?
No, the oil has really gone down, and
Gone
that's
down.
why we were concerned with our bid amount, and the bids were gonna be way higher, but oil has come down, so
Got a
hence,
lot of these coming in under bid.
yeah,
or
it's been,
underestimate, I
it
should
was
say.
really good.
15% nationally is kind of the number.
Well, that's far better than it coming in too high, right?
Right.
We'll
All
take
right,
it. I'll move to approve this.
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. All right, item number 7. This one is consider transit consultant services. And again, Mr. Habegorst.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Brainerd provides administrative support for the transit services, and a third-party contractor provides operational coordination for the transit service. Several key operational functions have fallen short and have forced staff to review the operational services. Currently, the City of Brainerd cannot be involved in the operational aspect, as we have a third-party contract that we have a contract very specifically that guides them with that, so we really can't interfere with that. The third-party contractor will bill the City of Brainerd monthly, ranging from $80,000 up to $100,000 on services performed. The city staff can fine them for failed performances, and the past fines have ranged from $4,000 to $12,000. Staff has asked MDOT for suggestions, as these key functions are now critical and need attention. MDOT is paying for a consultant to conduct operational review of the transit services. The consulting kickoff meeting was on April 10th. The overview of the consulting services is in the council packet and covers the scope of work, timeline, data, information, and outcome scenarios. Outcome scenarios, at first, I'm just going off script a little bit. At first, the outcome scenarios were just for in-house operation. I added to that scope, continue contracting out to a third-party contractor, whether we go out and get a new third-party contractor. The City of Brainerd takes over the operation administratively and operationally. The Crow Wing County takes over all aspects of the operation. Our number 4, a hybrid, a combination of all those different scenarios. Staff is just seeking approval of the consulting services to continue, and that we provide our recommendations in June for City Council to give staff direction for the transit operations for 2026. With that, I'm sure there's a few questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments for Mike?
Yeah, you had mentioned there's a deadline, I can't remember it's in May. There's something that has, I forget what it is. Can you remind me or us? of
Right,
that?
and it's in the packet. I just went through all of this. There's one, in May, it's that we got to give them all the information that they're asking for them to give us a timely review and recommendation. And then in June, that's when we want council to give us solid direction moving forward.
And then the termination time is 90 days with the third party, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Councilman Yeager?
Yes, Mike, if MnDOT is paying for this, why do we have to give the approval of the consulting services? That's just a dumb question, I'm sure, but.
We just want to make sure that the council is okay for transit moving forward. Do we want to spend all this time and energy to even do this report if transit is not on your radar to continue? So we just want to be extremely transparent in
Understood.
the
Okay.
services that we're providing.
Very good. Any other questions, comments?
I would be in favor of having the consultant move forward, and if ever there was a time to have some outside consultant look at what's going on, this is it. There's numerous issues on the table here. He reported on some at the last meeting during the staff reports at the end of the meeting, and the packet has documents in there. It's rather alarming, and we have, and I'm gonna give credit to City Engineer Dean because you believe it was you who were instrumental in putting in the penalty clauses for the contract, if I'm not mistaken. From the
Yes, he
previous-
was.
Yeah, and it's important because I think in your words, I believe it was before the prior 3-year contract had very little teeth in it to be able to hold the third-party contractor accountable. So at the very least, we're not paying the third-party contractor for services not rendered, and that's important because it's helping us, when they're not getting what they expect because they're not doing the job in essence. So I'm very glad Jesse brought that forward to the TAC and the council approved that contract the way it is. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Councilman Yeager.
Mr. Habergorst, one more follow-up question. So if we move forward with the approval of the consulting service, is it mandated or incumbent upon us are we required to move forward with the findings?
No.
If MnDOT's, okay,
Yeah.
never mind. That's all.
All those scenarios will be for you to make a decision on one of those
Or
multiple options.
Or none.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
All right, thank you very much. Be looking for a motion. Staff's looking for direction to approve the consulting services to continue with the consulting services and then provide recommendations to council in June.
So moved to approve.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, and motion carries. Brings us to number 8, approved placement of large planter near Holiday. Near Holiday Station by the high school. That's Norwood, between 5th and 6th, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I actually stopped by the Holiday Station today, and thankfully, there was no one parked on the sidewalk at that moment that I stopped by. I did talk to the store manager. He recognizes the safety issue with that and is totally good. He says, well, it's your property. And I said, well, I just want to be a good neighbor and let you know. So he was totally in agreeing with the placement of this planter. It's not going to be on technically the sidewalk. It's going to be on from the curb to the sidewalk in that little area. And it'll be one of our larger planters that we'll be placing there.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions, comments?
So one question I had, Mike, is where we're getting this planter from, will we be needing another one to replace it?
So we have between 10 to 12 of those large planters for the downtown area. We just plan on taking one of them. They're about, I didn't price these out.
Will we be getting another one to replace that one?
No, I was not planning on that.
Okay.
Councilman Yeager?
Sorry. Just 2 quick questions. So in the wintertime, it'll just be sitting unvegetated, right? It'll still be sitting there just like our other planters. Is that correct? Or we're going to remove this in the
We
winter?
will, in the wintertime, we remove them. In the fall, we take them all and we put them against the building. And so in the wintertime, no, there will just be the clearing of the sidewalk in a large.
So this is kind of a concern of mine, is that, for 7 months out of there, people park on that sidewalk every single day, all day long. So I don't mean to Monday quarterback this thing, but I would think a bollard or a couple bollards correctly placed around that sidewalk would be close to a similar cost and no maintenance and a long-term solution year-round. So I'm just throwing that out there, but again, I'm not trying to thicken the plot here, but.
Mr. Habergorst?
Yes, we could actually install those bollards ourselves with, steel and concrete and paint them. So we could do that ourselves in-house. And I think that would, to your point, Councilman Yeager, I think that's a good recommendation.
I think this is a good recommendation, good motion. I think we should move forward. I mean, people have been parking there kind of ad hoc throughout the years, and it's a safety concern. So I think maybe this is a good temporary fix to kind of warm people up to the idea. And then I agree. I mean, something more permanent we definitely need a permanent, because it is an everyday situation.
Mr. Habergors, is it our Parks Department that's maintaining the planters, or I feel like is that someone else?
Well, we hire.
Excuse me, Public Works.
Yeah, that's all right. We actually we hire a summer person, and yes, they'll actually do that underneath Public Works, yes.
And they water and all that
Yep.
stuff? Yep.
Pull the weeds and all that, yes.
Well, I like the idea, if I can, moving forward in this, but I think we just pay attention to Mr. Yeager's point. If we move this thing out of there in the fall or winter, and we just gotta do something different next year if this doesn't work for the winter. It won't be there, so I think we're just, gonna fix it for the summer months while that's there, the way it sounds, so.
Yeah. Planter will definitely look better than bollards.
Anyone want to take a stab at a motion?
Yeah, I'll go forward with staff's recommendation on putting this planter in there, if that was your recommendation. I
Second.
think it was, so.
It was, sorry.
Yep. All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Of course, motion carries. All right, our last item, number 9, discussion and review of street performers. Public Works Director Habergors.
At our last city council meeting, staff was directed to develop a street performer buskers, as it's known of, ordinance in review of other busker ordinances and the police chief and other departments, the city attorney. Staff has developed a draft ordinance for the council to review. And in your packet is the draft ordinance. This morning I emailed the committee regarding some discussion points, and I can take any questions at this time.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments?
I got the email from you. It says sidewalk performers, and now we got it on the agenda as street performers. It is sidewalk exclusively, right?
Technically, it's buskers.
So they can be in the street?
No,
Okay.
they can only perform, and that's one of the actual discussion points.
Yeah.
Should we be having a map of a very specific location where they can perform? Because we have other restaurants there that would like a little outside eating area in those sidewalk area, and we don't want those to conflict with one another.
Could we just make it so, if you have a business there and you want to have your performer come in to be associated with your business, you get permission from the next door business or something to that effect? Is that a possibility, like we do at Chickens?
Yes, it's all a possibility. It's just a matter of writing down direction.
Okay.
You're seeking feedback from council, and then the next,
Right.
the recommendations to bring this back.
At least on those 4 items that I indicated.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of good points you made there. Let's see. Highlighted. Permit.
The big one, if I may, on page 2, it's just regarding the actual permit. Shall the permit just be issued by a staff person here at City Hall? Or should we allow the chief of police investigate this individual, making sure that they're, will endorse the application and just in the public good? And we want to protect the public good, and we want to make sure that they're, good moral character, and the chief of police would actually perform that investigation. So that's one matter right there.
Well, you also talk about an individual. What if this individual has two partners, or they have a Kingston trio sitting out there and they
Right.
want to, I'm just, there's so many variables that can happen here to performance. Are we going to limit it to a single individual? Can there be more than one? Is there a limit of how many we should have? I don't know. I guess I don't want to, put up restrictions. You're going to have, allow 10 people out there performing in front of a restaurant or a business? I don't, so the permit's got to be specific, I would think.
Correct.
That's why we're having this conversation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And, Mike, the kind of the idea of the background check, kind of
Correct.
performing that, we have something like that for peddlers, kind of door to door.
Correct.
This is a little bit kind of quasi in between that. It's not necessarily door to door, but it is also.
Just making sure that those performers are in good, wholesome nature individuals to be in our general public performing in our public area.
Okay.
If we were
Go
to
ahead.
issue a permit and it didn't, and they pass muster with whoever approves that, whether it's staff or council or whomever. And it turns out they're not living up to what we expect from them based on the permit requirements, or, I see stuff in here like tattoos, different things like that. We're not, that's a suggestion in the ordinance or permit requirements.
Correct, and
But if they say violated that, what do you do then? Does law enforcement go down there and pull their permit? They contact, how would that work?
that is also the question in this ordinance that I have, is just very specific direction.
It does.
One option is for a staff person to bring that to the council, and the council remove that permit. And with our city attorney, he indicated that that would be the best route, is versus just having a general staff person pull their permit. We actually have that, the city council requires action to remove their actual permit.
Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I think we could look for a motion to take staff's recommendation. They'll have further comments to council. Given that the recommendation is to modify the draft ordinance with council comments and submit at the next council meeting. We have a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
To do what exactly? Come back with,
Modify the draft ordinance with council comments and submit at the next council meeting, and that is staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. And we are adjourned.